The year is 1989. New York City's been hit hard, harder than any other American city by the AIDS epidemic. Quote, I'm surrounded by people who are dying in a city that feels completely segregated. This community center is overflowing with people of all races, ages, genders, and income levels. Bankers and dancers all in one place with one purpose: to fight the power, to screw the system, and to show the presidents and CEOs of the world what we're made of. There's nowhere else in the city with this much energy in it. Nowhere with this much color, this much diversity. Maybe death is the great equalizer, except it's not, because gay people seem to be doing most of the dying, end quote. At first, the media called it the gay plague, but AIDS affected the whole city: music and nightclubs, art galleries, new relationships and old friendships, and specifically the lives of three teenagers: Art, Judy, and Reza. Art, born to a wealthy family that doesn't accept he's gay, is angry and set on documenting the death around him with his camera. He and Judy are best friends. Judy knows what she wants: a big career in fashion, and her uncle Stephen, who has AIDS, to live. And then there's Reza, the latest addition to their group. Reza has just moved to the city by way of Iran and Canada with his mother. Reza is terrified to finally reveal his sexual identity to the world. That is the premise of today's Velshi Band Book Club feature, a Stonewall Honor book and one of Time Magazine's 100 best young adult books of all time, Like a Love Story by Abdi Nazemian. Alternating between the perspectives of Art, Judy, and Reza, Like a Love Story is a poignant examination of what identity, individuality, community, death, and legacy look like when the stakes are at their highest. Like all good young adult novels, a complicated love triangle between the three main characters functions as the bones of a story that is poignant and carefully crafted. The book is so specific in its setting and subject matter, but so universal in its depiction of the teenage experience. And at the end, with a call to action, quote, tell your story until it becomes woven into the fabric of our story. Write about the joys and the pain and every event and every artist who inspires you to dream. Tell your story, because if you don't, it could be wiped out. No one tells our stories for us. And one more thing, if you see an elderly person walking down the street or across from you at a coffee shop, don't look away from them. Don't dismiss them. Don't just ask them how they're doing. Ask them where they have been instead, and then listen, because there is no future without a past. Like a Love Story has seen bans and challenges across the country, including being the 16th book banned from all public schools in Utah. There is sex in this book. Discussions about how serious of a step it is and what the risks are and the realities. There are curse words in this book, slurs used by society to dehumanize LGBTQ plus people. There are complicated feelings and nuanced relationships and the realities of teenage years and relationships and deaths, and none of it is gratuitous. There isn't a teenager I know that would not benefit from reading this story. After the break, I'll be joined by Abdi Nazemian. He's the author of today's Velshi Book Club feature, Like a Love Story. I apologize for not having this last week, but I've got it back. Today's meeting of the Velshi Band Book Club is officially underway. I got to learn what the timing on how to use the gavel. All right, I'm joined now by Abdi Nazemian, screenwriter, producer, and author of numerous books, including today's Velshi Band Book Club feature, a Stonewall Honor book, Like a Love Story. Abdi, great to have you here. Thank you for being with us. You set this book in the 80s, and to a lot of my audience, they will remember that the 80s and AIDS felt existential. It felt like the end of the world if you weren't gay. And if you were, it really felt very close to the end of the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the messaging that we were getting was full of shame, stigma, fear, and especially if you came of age. In my generation, which was the generation just past the ones on the front lines, you know, we were coming into our understanding that we were gay into our teen years when AIDS was at its worst. And so I think we internalized it in a way that was very hard to shake off.
Which speaks to the whole book banning issue, right? Because if you're experiencing shame while you're learning about sex and sexuality, there's a good chance you could make bad decisions because the good decisions are not available to you. The good reading is not available to you. So it's a perfect reason why I keep meeting people who say, don't ban books, because people may see themselves in the experience.
Of course. And they'll be educated by it. I mean, I've spoken to high schools about this book who tell me that students tell me this is one of the first times they've even heard the words HIV or AIDS. And we're in 2025. It's still not, there is still no cure. Rates, even in the United States for young people, are still pretty high. why are we not educating people? It's absolutely wild.
And by the way, we've cut off medication to a lot of people in the world.
Of course.
Which they associated with the United States, right?
Quite aware.
There are a whole lot of people in the world who know nothing about America except that they're getting their HIV medication from them.
Yes.
And that's stopping.
And these things are connected. I mean, as history teaches us, and I write a lot of historical fiction, a culture that bans books is also a culture that guts public health and public education. They're all connected.
I want to read a little bit from your author's note in the book. You say, I realized I was gay before I had a word for it, before I knew there were thriving gay communities. All I knew of the feeling inside me was fear and shame. All I saw of gay life was death. I thought I had a choice between being myself and staying alive, which isn't a choice at all. In high school and college, I was exposed to more queer culture. I started to read queer authors. The impact of these works and of the mentors who shared them with me cannot be understated. Tell me about that. Tell me about how it made a difference to you that you were able to see yourself, or at least some of your experience, in others.
So much. And I would just like to say, I found this t-shirt today at my parents' because they live in New York. This is a shirt from my high school. So 1990, 1991, from our LGBT organization, which was called SMAC. And, you know, the impact of teachers and educators showing me books or films that had queer subject matter was huge, because not only did I learn about a whole life that was out there for me that was not about death and stigma, I knew that the people teaching me and the community that was helping to raise me supported these stories. That messaging was so important. When educators teach books like A Love Story or plenty of other banned books, they're telling their community, your stories matter. Your stories deserve our attention.
So I just had somebody on social media ask me, what difference does it make that your book is banned in schools in Utah? People can still buy the book. Mm-hmm. But the community of people you just described who can support you, who can say it's okay. George M. Johnson said this to me last week. It's like, don't argue against the banning of a book. Argue for reading the book.
Absolutely. And that goes toward, you know, when I was writing Like a Love Story, one of my mantras was, I want to focus on the best of history, not the worst, because so often when we talk about history to young people, we tell them we study history so as not to repeat it. And my whole thing is, let's shift the focus on the heroes of history. Like this book talks about ACT UP, this incredible grassroots organization that changed the world. It talks about artists like Madonna, who was banned herself in 1990, and I feel just like her right now on Nightline. But, you know, it talks about heroes, and I love the idea of shifting the focus away from the people trying to ban the books and toward the heroes, the educators, the librarians, the teachers, the organizations like Authors Against Book Bans or the ACLU who are fighting. I just would love more focus on the positives.
Positive. Well, that's what we find, though, with our viewers. Their response is, I wouldn't have come across this book if somebody didn't try to ban it. But now I'm going to read it. Now I'm interested. I mean, you go to bookstores, and they've got banned book clubs, banned book sections all over the place. You have been... The stated reason for some of these bans is sex.
Yes.
Sex is central to the book in an important way. It's not gratuitous. Now, I don't think you should ban books in which sex is gratuitous anyway, but the fact is, it's a useful vehicle in this book because the 80s and the stigma around being gay is a real thing, and sex was central to it.
And there was a lack of sexual education. I would not have learned about safe sex were it not for a little leaflet in Madonna's Like a Prayer album, because in my school, I very much remember the sex education ignoring all gay sex.
Right.
Basically saying, if you're gay, you're going to die. I mean, that's what we were taught. I actually thought it was quite responsible of me in a book about HIV and AIDS to have scenes about sex. One of my favorite scenes in the book is where two older men who are living with HIV give the two younger gay teens a kind of birds and the bees talk about what sex is for our community, how to stay safe, but also how to be emotionally open. These are conversations we never get to have, and it's so important. You know, I would love to move the conversation even past let's stop banning books toward let's be more intentional about how we reach kids who are marginalized. You know, I genuinely believe if you're a parent out there listening to me right now and your kid comes out as anything, gay, bi, trans, whatever it is, find a mentor in that community. Go beyond a book. Find actual people who can help show that young person that they have a history, that they're standing in a path that was paved for them by people who care for them and love them. You know, let's ask more of ourselves. Let's ask to be more empathetic.
It's amazing. Well, thank you for a great book, and thank you for joining us today to have this conversation. It is meaningful. I suspect I'm going to be hearing from a lot of people about this. Abdi Nazemian, the author of the book, Like a Love Story.